Okay, so we are doing the second dance over here. Here we have our first dance. This little clip right here is our intro to first dance, which I don't want to edit until I'm making the final assembly of all the segments of the video. Here we have our completed first dance. Then we have our dinner segment, which we did in the last video. And now we are moving on to second dance. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing like we did during the first dance, where I'm just going through setting marker points and cutting out anything that's shaky. The purpose of the second dance video is going to be to go over special situations. The first dance generally is very standard. They play a bunch of songs, 15-20 minutes, and nothing out of the ordinary usually happens there. During the second dance, there's very often some unusual situations, and I want to take a moment to go through each of them. So the first thing that I've come to is even though the men and the ladies dance separate, but you'll occasionally have dad of the bride go to the other side. I have a clip earlier with the groom dancing with his mom and sisters. Obviously these clips are super important and need to go in regardless of how they look. But we don't want the completely shaky parts, we want the usable parts. Next, there's often a point during the dance where the bride will come onto the men's side and they'll sit in chairs over there and people will dance in front of them. So this is going to get a little tricky because it's going to be one camera pretty much shooting a lot of the same thing. But we're going to start off the same way, which is we're going to take out whatever is not usable. But we have to keep in mind that the edit for this point, we can't really go back and forth between the men and the ladies because everything is happening on the men's side. So we're going to have to get a little creative here. Also, the song that gets played over here is specific for this point in the wedding. So you're going to hear the tempo change drastically. Right? It goes to the other side. This song is specific for this point in the wedding, and the songs that are played, there might be 2 or 3 songs played during this section, they're all very specific for this point in the wedding. So this is going to go, this usually goes for at least a few minutes, see, till somewhere about here. So it's a good 6-minute clip. We're going to start it out the same way, however, which is simply choosing what we want to use. So you can see over here, the dad starts bringing her over, but we're not going to use any of that point. The first thing we actually want to use is going to be everyone sitting in a chair. Right? And we're going to cut that. We're going to cut that moving part. The reason I'm letting it go a drop past what I normally would have is because you kind of see the bride's reaction to something that's going on over there. I think that's important. Again, we're just looking for clean cut points. I'm going to pause the recording while I do this. Usually there'll be a lot of cool things happening. If I jump around and shoot one thing from multiple different angles, see like over here. So we're going to cut out the middle section. Okay, we don't want that movement. Alright, again over here, we want all the people over there. We want to skip out the part where I'm moving the camera to a different angle. And we're going to start again over here. Right, so just the parts that are really usable, the parts that are clean, unless there's something really, really important, like that I'm going to skip, the camera shakes a little too much, and we're going to start again when the next thing happens. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to pause the recording and continue doing this so that this video doesn't end up being too long. Testing. Okay, so we're back now. I've gone a little further into the dancing, and I got to a point where they are playing a song and the family of the bride is doing a little choreographed dancing. So we're starting off initially the same way. We're pulling out things that are not usable. So for example, right here, right, I'm moving from one position to another. So that's obviously not usable. What I'm trying to do here when I shoot is I'm shooting shots that are a little bit longer than usual, and we're going to attempt in the editing to break them up a little bit and make them into a sort of multi-camera edit. So for example, I have this shot from the back, you know, and we might mix it between these two shots as long as we get the music of it to kind of line up. Another thing, and this is just something that works to our advantage, the music cut out after about 30 seconds, and then they started the song again. This was being played off an iPad. So as long as we find the right spots in the song, these two clips can eventually be moved over later on and used as a multicam. Lastly, I did set up a second camera. I believe for the most part it was just sitting on a tripod. Some people did knock it around a little bit, and I believe it was filming in 4K, yes, so we can make it 50% and see a lot more using that. And it could be at some points I picked it up and filmed with it straight. I don't remember. No, I did not. Okay. So for the most part, this camera is just kind of sitting there. Alright, and when we edit this point, because it's a choreographed dance being done to a specific song, we're going to take a lot of care to not, to try to not edit it too much. And this will be one of the few exceptions in my entire video where we might just cut out what we don't want from the main camera and let the second camera just fill in the rest. So we're going to kind of see how that plays out afterwards. Where is... Okay, so I'm going to get to it. I'm going to continue cutting out footage we don't need. I'm also not... Okay, yeah, we'll leave that minimized over here. Everything on this row over here was from that second camera, which is in 4K. So those few clips can all be minimized. I'm looking for one missing clip. We're going to try to find it here. I don't know why I accidentally have a whole nother wedding kind of mixed into this one. That's okay. Stationary camera 105. I'm just looking for clip number 39. Huh. A beautiful dinner shot that we did not get earlier. What's this one here? That is our intro clip. This dinner shot. I'm sticking it in there for right now. I don't know if and what I'm going to use it for, but it is a nice shot, so I'm just moving it back to the dinner point. I noticed that because I noticed that this clip is clip number 40, and all the way back here by this intro, this is clip number 38, and I didn't see a clip number 39, so I was just checking what 39 actually was. So, alright, I'm going to continue pulling out footage from the main camera. I'm going to leave the secondary camera in right here pretty much untouched. Okay, so I've actually finished going through the whole thing, and I noticed something interesting. It seemed like in a few places that the music was a little bit off from the video. So, for example, right here, this is one of the places I noticed it. Their hands are jumping up in the air as if the music had changed, right? See over here, they're just kind of spinning around and dancing. Right? And now if I mute the recording of the audio of the band and turn on the camera sound, see, their hands sort of go up as the music changes. So I'm going to look for a cut point. All right, I'm going to cut that clip right there. That's going to be my marker for the exact point where it changes. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the band audio. Right? That point and that point should line up with each other. Now, another place where I noticed it was kind of at the end of the dance. Let's find it. See, it looks like they've kind of stopped dancing before the music actually slowed down. So, let's see what happens in the actual camera audio. See that? So here's where the music slows down here. So we'll make that cut point. And now we're going to find that point in the band. Right? That point and that point should be lined up. So far I know that from this point to this point, it seems like everything is just a little bit off. It may or may not make a difference, but for the points where things are actually lining up with the music, it may make a difference. So we're going to check also if here during this song it did it as well. So let's see. We're going to find a break in the music on the camera. So we're going to find that point where it sort of becomes a high part. We're going to cut that track. I do want to check that the other camera is lined up with this one. Okay, so that seems to be lined up. Now we're going to check the band. Not lined up at all. And again, this would be that point. So it seems like the video is a little bit earlier than it should be. We're going to check a few more points. Let's actually just go to the beginning of second dance, and let's see if the whole thing is off by a little bit. That I might have accidentally just pulled a clip away from where it should have been, or pushed the audio. So let's see. Let's listen to the video. Okay, so we have... Okay, so I'm going to look for that same point in the music. And there we have it. So, it looks like everything is a little bit off. Now we're going to see if it's all off by the same amount, because that would be really cool if it is. So we're going to select... Oops. We're going to select all the video from second dance. This is troubleshooting, but I felt it was important to show this happening. And I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to pull this just so that those 2 points line up. Now, if everything moved together, let's see. If that's all it was, that we accidentally shifted everything over, and look at that, it's almost perfect. And let's see here, again, it is almost perfect. So there's going to be another point. So we're going to select all the video again. And I'm actually going to shift it based on this point. And now we're going to see if this one here lines up. Now that one lines up, so that's good over there. This one now is, we're just going to double check it because we got 2 out of the 3 to line up. So we're going to merge these back together. I don't know why my join through edits isn't working, but we'll do it like this. Let's delete this and drag this clip back to here, and let's see if they kind of line up. So let's see what happens. Okay, so that one does not line up. Let's see this one here. Let's find that point. Right? So this really should be this point here. Right, so this one's a little bit off. Let's jump a few ahead and let's find that again. Oh, it's going to be a hard one to figure out, so we'll undo that. Okay, that's a good point to try to find. Right, and these are a little bit off. Let's see if they're off by the same amount. They look to be off by very similar amounts. Let's go a little bit ahead and let's try to find it again. Okay, so we're going to try to find that point in the music again. And that one goes there, okay? And let's see over here. Okay, let's find that over here. Okay, that one is actually off in the other direction. Hold on, we're gonna work this out. Oh, we're listening. 1 second here. This is this track. This is this track here, and this one is this track. And there we go. It seems to be off by the same amount. Right? Just a little bit, just a few frames one way. So we're still off over there. Let's check where we come back in sync. So we're going to find that point and that point. Okay. The video is a little bit ahead still. Let's jump ahead. And here too, it's still ahead. I don't need to mark it. I assume it's going to go until this point here. Let's see. Alright, so we have that point where the music cuts short. Right, that point there. Let's see if this one matches up. Okay, so that's the band track, and that one is still a little bit ahead. This one here. I think at this point it might already be lined up. Let's see. Nope, so that one, the video is still a little bit ahead. We could assume that that goes at least until here. So again, we're just troubleshooting, and I'm doing this live. So. Okay, let's find that point in the music, and there we go. We're back. Oh, it's still a teeny drop ahead of itself. I don't think it's as much ahead as it was before. Let's try this one. One thing, this clip. That already is close enough. Okay. And this one too is already it's a little bit off, but close enough, I think. Let's see here. That one already is very close. Let's check this one. You know what it probably is the audio should have been a little bit drift corrected. Sorry. Okay, let's see what we could do here to line things back up. So we're going to go back to our first point over here. And we'll select all the points until here. And we're going to line them up with each other. Now that one becomes lined up. Well, whoops, we're back here. Alright, let's find our various little cut points here. Those are lined up. This one here is not lined up, so we're going to select the next whole section of music till here. This whole section looks to be off by about the same amount. So we're going to get it all together. And again, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it has to be believable perfect. Alright, and now if we go to here, that checkpoint should line up, and it does. And now I think we're going to have all our checkpoints line up. Pretty much. Okay. Now the only thing that we're gonna have to be aware of now when we're editing is that our cut points are not necessarily going to be exactly on the beat, and there's not really going to be an easy way to trim everything together. I don't think Adobe lets you trim multiple clips in one shot. No. Okay, the cuts I think are still, the shift must have happened at a later point. So I think for the beginning, the cuts are still going to be on the beat. And so normally I would have like made my cut right there. Right, and that might have gone to there, and that might have started there. So we're gonna have this issue now where every single clip needs a little bit trimmed off the front. If someone knows of an easy way of doing that, they can let me know. In the meantime, we're gonna get to assembling this clip. So I'm gonna pause while I do the regular assemblies, and I will start the recording again when I get to special segments that I want to point out something for. Okay, so I've began to assemble the second dance. See, here we have our first dance, here we have our dinner segment, and then over here we have the beginning of our second dance. I'm starting to put clips together. Now I came to a point where they're dancing with the bride inside this parachute kind of thing. Alright. So here, the bride and the groom were dancing together. So obviously that's an important shot. And then the bride and her best friend were dancing together. And then we jumped back to the groom back on the men's side. And then the bride's dad dancing with her. So what ends up happening here is that there's no practical way to align these clips so that they make sense. And again, this is what we're about to do is an absolute last resort. So over here, these friends were in the middle. The next clip I had was the groom in the middle, so I was able to break it up with a shot that did not have the groom in it. Over here, I have to jump way out into the dancing, into this entire next segment, in order to get something that would potentially break up this clip and this clip. So, as a very, very last resort, and we try never to do this, we are going to fade between two clips. So, instead of just going from this into this, we're going to use a fade, and that will solve the issue and make it work. So again, we really want everything to be cuts. We want to use transitions only as a way to add to the story, so certain transitions will help tell the story. If they don't add to it, then we'd rather them not be there. In this case, we're kind of stuck with no way to make clip 1 go into clip 2, so then and only then do we add a fade. I'm actually going to keep this recording going because we're about to come to a segment that I wanted to put a little focus on. So let's put these clips down here. And alright, so that works because the clip before didn't have the groom, so now it makes sense that the groom is back in the shot. Okay. And bride with her father. Okay, and then the clip after that is still them dancing, So the only thing I could do here to get both these clips in, because this and this, I can't just jump from one to the other. Oh, actually, that was a cut that was there accidentally. So we're gonna fix that so we don't make mistakes later. We'll just drag that out. Okay, now the very next thing is this segment where the bride and the groom are on the same side together. So the music that is played over here is very specific to this point. The Hebrew words translate to actually dancing before the bride, and it's played specifically when we give the opportunity for the men to dance for the bride. So we're going to find an ending to this song over here. So right about there. So that's a good spot I could cut that song. Alright, and we're going to find a nice beginning to this song, and we're going to bring them together over there with a fade, because it's a little bit more of a drastic change. I think this is going to roll better with a longer transition. Let's see. That actually sounded pretty good. Okay, let's see. Right. And now, throughout this whole thing, we're gonna kind of see people dancing before the bride and groom. And again, we're gonna put a fade over here just because here's the bride, and then all of a sudden she's sitting. So we just want to transition into that segment. Now the issue here is that we're videoing a lot of the same thing from the same angle, so let's kind of see if we have a good way to assemble this. Okay, so you'll notice that I periodically pan to the people. That should give us a... Okay, so this over here, remember earlier we had that issue with the lining up audio, so there's a few places where we have these random cuts, which I just don't want to mix them up. Okay, so here we have this guy in the middle, then we face the bride, and then we... Now this specific clip, because he's just juggling, it almost doesn't matter if it's on beat or not, except that you don't want the people in the background to look way off when they're clapping. Let's see what we have next. Okay, so this guy went out of the circle, and then I actually changed positions and started videoing from another angle. So that can go together, because for all we know, the dad could have already been on the right side of this clip. Alright, okay, now this clip here, we see this guy walk into the middle and light a match, and then we have the very next clip, even though there was a lot of space between, but if you find the right points, you can make them work without a fade. Alright, we have the bride's reaction. That's a great reaction, followed by changing angles, followed by bride's reaction again, and then, okay, we'll get to that in a second, so let's just watch how this plays out. Alright, then the next one we have is the groom. Oh no, that's not the groom. The groom is actually going to get up during this set. So let's you'll see they're playing the same song throughout, but because we're dealing with a live band and because tempos can sometimes change slightly, we're going to trim the music a little bit. So they're going into a high part, and we just got to find that next high part. Again, I'm used to the song, so I kind of know where they break up already. But instead of playing extra high parts, let's just see how that rolls. That works. Alright, then we have this guy in the middle playing with those lights, and then I believe the groom is gonna get up. I don't know what happened there. Why did it jump? Now these clips over here during the more fun parts of dancing, it's kind of okay if we have a little bit of extra shake. Okay, now these two clips don't exactly line up with each other, but they're close enough. The groom's already in the middle, he's dancing, and now he's dancing by himself, so that kind of goes. I like doing the trial and error, so I'm actually just going to line up clips over here. And if they work, we're going to leave them. Like that works, because over here you see the groom sit down. And then it's actually from a completely different angle, where you see these guys come out over there. And then you see that guy. Okay, so now I don't want to have... So to go from this clip to this clip, we want to make sure that he's still juggling. So we don't want that shot of him dropping a pin. And we could just put this in. And that should work. Okay, we don't want to do that. Alright, so let's get here. And then we'll put this one in. Remember, always cutting on a beat. Okay. Let's just see what I want to do here. Okay, so I'm going to put one of these B-roll shots out of order to break these two up, because I want them to flow a little nicer, so... And then I'm going to get another one of the B-roll shots. Alright, now this guy's back, juggling some knives. Right, if you keep doing this little bit of back and forth, then it kind of works. Okay, this looks like one of those places where we cut a clip a little extra. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so to go from this... They actually did switch songs, so we're going to switch songs. So we're going to switch songs with them. Let's see. Okay, so that cut that was already there from when we did our thing with the music was actually the proper cut point. And let's pull these together. And again, just fade between the music. It should be a natural cut. That actually sounded very good. Alright. And I'm gonna keep stressing that the flow just has to work. these clips really shouldn't go one after another. They don't make sense. But it's not bothering me. So we're gonna let it go. Over here, these two clips work because actually the end of this last clip, you see that boy, bride's brother, run up towards the front. So now this is just that next thing happening. He's dancing some more. And the other brother. I actually want to switch in order a little bit because over here you see this one kind of off to the side. So I think if we put them out of order, it'll kind of make more sense. Alright, and let's see what we have next. Alright, a nice B-roll shot. Alright, so they go there. And then you see this guy run out, and that actually works because the very end of this clip, you see that guy in the red wig coming up there. And normally for the rest of dancing we have these men's clips, then these ladies clips, and we could go back and forth. Over here, because we're all in the same place, a little more care has to be taken to make sure that things actually work. So he's going to juggle a little bit. Okay, and then let's just make sure our angles are different. We'll see if that works. It might. That's alright. That actually works too. And then we're going to have this clip of the bride getting up out of her seat. And then there's usually a little bit of a commotion before the dancing actually begins again. As well as, if you remember, this song that we did for this segment is kind of specific. So we're going to find a nice endpoint in the song, we're going to cut it, and we're going to find the next song. That is important. I'm going to pause the recording now, I'm just going to sync up these clips, and then we're going to get to this segment here with the choreographed dancing. And, okay, I finished that little segment over there. I was able to line up the spot where the music actually naturally ends with the last clip that I have. Alright, so we have a nice ending, and we're actually going to fade out of that, because there's really no way to get to the very next thing. Alright, now we had this little area where they kind of started playing the music, then it ended, and then they started it again. Alright, so let's just get to it.
Whether you needed this music in order to dance.
So we're going to start from right there. That's where we're actually going to start it. So these clips here are extra. Now if we find the spots where they kind of line up. Right, so right over here. So we could line up that with that can line up. That should line up right there. If we did this right. Let's see. Okay, it does not work perfectly. So we're gonna get rid of that clip. And we're gonna start this from right here. kind of see what we can do here. Okay, so this marker can actually move to right here, and this clip should fit in right there. Let's see. And I'll just give us a different angle. Alright, and then we could go to right now we can move to here. We're looking for just the same words in the song. So this can go right to there. No, that doesn't work because over here they were... Remember, for choreographed dancing, we don't really want to manipulate what they did too much. So we're just trying to fill in these little blanks over here with the footage we have. So look for the words in the air from Feel the Magic in the Air. Okay, and right over there is the word in the air. These two clips look like they were really meant to go together, so we'll put that there. And now this can go with Feel the Magic in the Air. Let's see if it works. That kind of works. And the last thing we have is just this little space right here. Let's see if we could just naturally fill it in. And we're going to kind of make that work. Now, because we had a second camera from this point on, we can kind of just let this edit be. A very, very traditional edit. We kind of don't want to skip too much. It's just that beginning that we needed to make work. Even points that are a little shaky, the family is going to want to see this. So we're just kind of watching for anything that's way off. Alright, just a simple multi-camera edit. We came to this by doing subtractive editing on the main camera and then just leaving the second camera kind of as is. Okay, so beginning at this point, I'm just going to adjust the main camera to look a little better. So we're going to straighten it out so that they're straight, and then just zoom in a little bit just to get rid of the black spots, and that should do it. Again, we shouldn't need to move anything around. We're just looking for things that are kind of mistakes. Okay, now I have a feeling that the music and video is off over here. Something doesn't seem right. I'm gonna find that out right now. Let's see if the main camera is lined up. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of leave it. Alright, the groom came in, that's always nice. Alright, camera got knocked again, so let's kind of see after this point. Let's reset this and this, and oops, that's still straight. Here it's not straight, so we're going to reset this, this, and the rotation. Okay, we'll zoom this into 58 and just twist it a little so that it's straight. Yeah, okay, it is a little bit off, I was right. So we're gonna fix this. Everything seems to be a little bit off. And that makes a difference because the dance is choreographed. So let's see if we can fix this. Okay, so it's the main camera that's off by a little bit, not the second camera. So right over here, this point needs to line up with that point. So we're going to take this entire main camera and realign it to there. And let's see if we fixed it. Alright, so you should be hearing the same thing. That's better. Right, we're looking for the dance to kind of make sense, and if you're ever not sure, you just need to check the music. This is one of the main reasons. Sorry about that. This is one of the main reasons that we keep the original audio from the cameras, because if things are off, we're going to want to line them up after. Again, I'm just kind of watching it through now. Alright, now it looks like everyone's dancing exactly to the music. Alright, we just have to change that little thing there with the second camera so that the camera rotation is back to normal. And now you want to see when the music pipes up again, you want to kind of see them, right? You want to just make sure it looks like they are dancing to the music. Now it's hard to tell, but if you watch people mouthing the words to the song, it should look like they're mouthing the actual words to the song. Right, you see as the music got faster, they get faster with it. Now I'm gonna kind of check the music again because something looks off again. Check that again. Yeah, okay, so something's off again. Let's figure out where it went off. That's definitely off. Okay, that's still on. From this point here, though, I think it's off. Let's see how that works. So we're looking for Gouv Palais. This section and this section need to line up. So again, we're going to select all the main camera after this and put that to there, and then there was a little bit more of this clip that we were able to do, and let's see if we fixed it now. That's much better. We're also going to check the other camera. Okay, main second camera is off as well. Let us figure out why. So let's see from here. Over there it was pretty close still. This is off for sure, so. Alright, so right about there, we're going to find that same point in the other track, in the main music track. Alright, so let's get the whole second camera now, and we're going to line it up. Again, I'm just hoping that something's being learned from all this troubleshooting, so. Alright, let's go back to wherever we were. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, that could be the end of that segment. Now let's just attach it to this segment here. And again, it's going to go with a pretty big fade to kind of make it work. And again, we're fading out of one video, so we'll fade into the other one, and let's see what happens. Okay, I'm just making sure that everything kind of lines up and makes sense. Okay, that's good enough. And now on the other end here, we can... Let's see what we have here. Okay, so over here we have the segment where they were playing stuff off an iPad, so just special requests. So again, we just gotta kind of make sure that everything works. Alright, so up till here, all these clips here are all part of this original song that they start with, so we can put them all together and then we'll switch to the other songs. So let's see how that works. That works perfectly. Just gonna get rid of the unnecessarily cut. That works. It's a little bit harder to make things line up nicely when there's a when you're playing special requests, but we can actually make things work a little better here by switching so that it goes men, ladies, men, ladies. Let's see how that plays out. Doesn't sound like it lines up. Let's find out. Let's just see. And now let's get a beat. That's gonna go. That sounds better. So you want the bouncing to always be with the music. If it's not with the music, we're doing something wrong. Sometimes it goes smoother, sometimes it doesn't. I'm happy to be doing a recording where the first dance pretty much went smoothly, the second dance is going a little less smooth. Okay, so we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it right by that point where it goes from high part to low part. Get rid of that, and then we're gonna move on to the next song. So. Okay, now this song here has an important segment where we went through this before, where you kind of see everyone's hands go up with the music. Alright, so that's very important that that happens at exactly that point in the song. So we're basically going to move everything else just to that point. So this to here, and we're gonna kind of hope right now that it works, but it's possible it won't. So let's see what happens. Okay, the audio and the dancing is definitely a drop off from the music. So let's find the point where we could help line it up. So this will need to line up with that. Let's see if that works. It looks a little bit better. Okay, so now because we can't move that purple clip, but we can move everything else, and no one will know if we play something twice. So. Okay, that's good. And then everything else after it should just go up against it. We'll see how that works. Okay, so the band, they stopped taking band requests and they went back to regular music, so we just gotta make it flow into each other. Again, this purple clip here, let's see why it's something. Let me see why I made it purple. Okay, because the tempo got faster. So again, we're just gonna put these kind of over to here. And let's see if they work together. I'm fast forwarding now just to... That's fine, that's fine. And let's see where we cut the music here. Okay, so right about there is the even cut point of the music. And we'll bring everything together. I don't know what just happened. You know what, we forgot. Okay. This could come together to here. I forgot to connect the last segment also, so let's just see what happens. Okay, that works. And now let's connect this segment here. So let's bring them together. And then we'll fade the music into each other. Remember, this was iPad requests, so we're just gonna make long fades. This is what would have happened if the computer was... Okay, and that looks good. We'll save our work. The remainder of the second dance is gonna go... should be pretty straightforward. The same as the first dance and anything else. We're just going to line up clips and make them work. I will continue the recording when we get to the ending of the video and other special situations. So I'll see you then.